Hey guys, welcome back. Today we're giving you our Week 5 fantasy football waiver wire pickups. We're here to help you make all the right decisions on who you should target this week on the waivers and who to avoid. Let's start this fantasy football podcast right meow.
Hit that drop. Welcome. I am Justin. That is Kyle. And this is the Fantasy Football Upside. Thank you very much for dropping by our Fantasy Football podcast and YouTube channel. We appreciate it. Week 5 is quickly approaching. It's almost here already. And guess what? We're already a quarter of the way through the 2020 fantasy football season. Most leagues should be finishing up on week 16, so we are definitely a quarter of the way through. There's still plenty of time to make a comeback or keep that substantial lead on your league counterparts if you've been listening to us. So if you haven't been, make sure you do. Today, we're going to give you our top waiver wire ads for week 5. Kyle, what you got?
I don't have a whole lot. I've just got that you need to click that button so that you're subscribed and click that bell as well so you're notified every time that we upload the best fantasy football podcast on the internet. We're talking waiver wire stuff today, so we're only going to talk about players who are rostered at 60% or less, and we're focusing on Yahoo as our number for that metric, but they generally are pretty close to what other platforms have. Week 5's here, man. I hope you had a good week 4, even with all of that COVID craziness that threw a lot of jump balls up in the air there, I guess, right? Toward the end of the week, it got a little bit crazy. Our league had to figure something out to handle the, I guess the question about whether or not Kansas City and New England would actually play. We came up with a decent solution, I think.
If you have questions about that, definitely reach out to Kyle. His Twitter handle is right there. He's our league commissioner. And it was a really good way to kind of wiggle our way through this week 4 COVID issue.
Yeah, and I think it's a narrow enough solution that it only will apply in the scenarios in which it's really become a problem. Like my general rule is keep my hands out of things mostly. Let bad trades happen, that sort of thing. It doesn't matter to me. People have their own reasons for making their trades. Now, if it looks like collusion, I'm going to step in. So let us know about your start sit questions for week 5 as always. And then let's dive in headfirst into the shallow end here.
Let's do it.
And start talking about waiver wire pickups, guys. Also, just as a rule, always check after the waivers have cleared, always check what has dropped. Okay. And we're talking about bye week issues this week. So there could be something here, out there. Yeah. That's
nuts.
Yep. Well, there technically was one last week as well. All right. So give me your running back. Who do you have at running back for waiver wire this week?
I have Chase Edmonds, Arizona Cardinals, rostered in 35% of the league. It's not like he's a guy that no one's heard of right now. It's one of those things where he turned 9 touches into 40 yards and 1 touchdown in week 4. He's a very, very talented backup he's
the back to own out there.
He is leaning towards that back to own. I mean, I don't know how much longer Kingsbury can keep running Drake out there. And we kind of talked about this during the offseason. Neither of us are really Kenyon Drake fans. They were handing him the keys, and I think that was the wrong thing to do for a player like that. Because he's shown when he handed the keys, he is very ineffective, and that's what we're looking at. Points have decreased every week for Kenyon Drake, and I think the touches are going to continue to increase. And it's not like Chase Edmonds doesn't have it in him. I remember last year, week 7, put up a 27 carry, 127 yards, and 3 tutties. So he has the capability.
Yeah, it was like that 1 week window in which he got the start before they decided that they were going to go with Drake right after they had traded David Johnson and acquired.
They didn't trade David Johnson.
They didn't.
He was hurt.
Yeah.
They didn't trade him until the offseason. And then they were like, okay, well, let's run David Johnson out for 1 play for some dang reason. And then they put Chase Edmonds in and took over the rest of the game and should have just kept over the rest of the season, but they brought in Kenyon.
Yep.
Who do you have for your running back waiver wire?
We're going deep here. We're going Dearness Johnson, right? So he's on Cleveland. And with Chubb going down, Johnson ended up getting more carries than Hunt did, actually. He got 13. He produced 95 yards on 13 carries. He didn't get any of the pass work. That's going to go to Hunt. You're going to see more of a traditional split backfield, I think, in that respect with Dearness Johnson back there.
Yep.
It appears that Chubb is likely to miss several weeks based on the reports that we're seeing as of right now. And so this is a decent pickup, but you need to be careful here. I would actually go with Chase Edmonds ahead of Dearness Johnson. And that is because Hunt maintained all the scoring work. He got all of that work. And the schedule over the next 2 weeks is just not good. You're looking at home against Indianapolis and on the road against Pittsburgh. So this might be a scenario where there's a very small window following those couple of games where Chubb will actually be still out and Dearness Johnson presents some value still. This was supposed to be a smash spot this last week for Chubb. Him getting hurt was just very unfortunate for anybody who had him. I think I was facing Chubb this week in our league. So kind of worked out in my favor, but all right. So who do you have at wide receiver?
This is a repeat from last week, man. This is T. Higgins, Cincinnati Bengals. We're up to 33% now. It was like 5% last week. So we're getting up there. But I still like what he was able to get in week 4. He turned 7 targets into 4 catches, 77 yards. No touchdowns this time around after he had a 9-target, 5 catches, 40 yards, and 2 touchdowns in week 3. But looking at how much Joe Burrow threw this last week compared to the previous week, they were both right at about 20% target share for T. Higgins. He has shown that he is kind of running into that number 2 possibly target for Joe Burrow. Because, I mean, AJ Green keeps saying that he's struggling with conditioning. How much longer do we need? We're coming up on week 5, folks. How much longer does he need for conditioning? I think T. Higgins is taking over that number 2 role and is shown to be a really good target for Joe Burrow in a very pass-heavy offense. We're still averaging about 44 attempts a game for Burrow.
Yeah, he looked really good going across the middle on those plays during this last week. He looked really good.
Well, the Bengals have had issues in the past in the red zone with wide receivers whenever AJ Green has been out. Nobody else has been able to do that, and now they actually have another guy that can go up and get the ball.
Yeah.
Who do you have as your wide receiver?
All right, we're going deep again here. We're going to Tim Patrick over in Denver. He's 2% rostered. I'm stuck on that 2%, it looks like, right? Look, he's got great matchups for wide receivers over the next couple of weeks. He's got at New England and then home versus Miami. He's caught 10 of 11 targets over the last 2 weeks against good pass defenses. And he's got 156 yards and 2 TDs in those last 2 weeks. He's actually turning into the guy that everybody thought that Sutton was going to be, or, Judy's getting some work. This is the guy who maybe is the guy to own right now out there. I don't know. I think that you're going to get some inconsistency, but it might be worth a spot start here or there.
Yeah.
So where are you going with tight end?
A tight end, once again, we're pulling on some strings here when it comes to tight end position this year. And this is a guy, it's Eric Ebron of the Steelers. And this is one where he might have been picked up during last week's waiver wires because he was coming off of 7 targets, 5 catches, 52 yards, and a touchdown. But then the bye week COVID happened. So he may have been dropped in some leagues because people are scrambling to go ahead and pick up another tight end if they needed it. So he could be a guy that's back on the waiver wire. And he's one that looking like he's gaining trust from Big Ben. He's new to the offense. He's gaining the knowledge of the offense. Deontay Johnson has been hurt. He had a concussion. He's been hurt. Juju Smith has been hurt. So it's one of those things where some of the pass catchers have been going down quite a bit. And once again, the tight end is getting very scarce. So Eric Ebron, Steelers, 27% rostered. Try it out. See how it feels.
Yep. I'm going back to the well this week. Going Mo Allie-Cox again, 33% rostered still.
Why not?
He's jumped up. I think he was 10% last week. This is 2 weeks in a row that we're telling you pick him up. So pick him up. If you need to get a tight end, go pick him up. He should be in high demand yet again, so you're going to have to pay up on him. The tight end position has been really scarce on the wire this year. Last week, he was a bit less explosive than the week before as far as points go. But look, he gets a cake matchup against Cleveland coming up this week. And so this is probably going to be the last chance you're going to have to pick him up. So if you want to find a way to fit him in, go ahead and do it. We'll go ahead and toss in as well on tight end here on pickups. Robert Tonyan. We were talking about the tight ends all week last week for Green Bay. The offense runs through them. You can't sleep on Tonyan anymore. I'm seeing the comparison to Kittle. I'm not making the comparison to Kittle. I'm seeing the comparisons being made to George Kittle.
You probably you
that.
probably follow a lot of Packers fans on
No,
Twitter,
no,
like
no,
that,
that-
because I don't know.
no,
I don't know
that
what
was-
this sign is up above there and what your shirt is.
I don't follow any of the Packer
Oh, okay.
players or anybody like that actually at
Okay.
all. I'm seeing that on ESPN. That's where I'm seeing that.
You seen it on Aspen?
I'm seeing it on Aspen.
Real quick to go back on Mo Allie-Cox. All three tight ends were healthy enough to play last week with him, Jack Doyle, and Trey Burton. He was still getting some good amount of work when it comes to down in the red zone. So I think you are right in the fact that he is still a great pickup at the tight end position.
Yeah, I think you can trust that Phillip Rivers is going to target the tight end. And I think that as well with Tonyan, you can trust that Rodgers in that offense is going to target tight ends because that's what they're doing. That's what it's turned into. It's running backs and tight ends, and their wide receiver core is really, really banged up right now. So I think that you can go for that too. What do you have at QB? We're going to talk about QBs this week.
At QB, I mentioned this during our start-sit segments last week, and this is a guy that I said was going to have a good bounce back, and that was Gardner Minshew, Jaguars. And he's 46% rostered because he had a huge drop in roster own because he was probably over 60% going into last week. So people dropped him after, I think it was like a 7, 8, 9 point. I guess it depends on how your league is set up, points on week 3. But week 4, he bounced back 27-40. 351 yards, 2 tutties, and an interception, but still gave you a lot of points. And he's got a lot of great weapons. DJ Chark, Keelan Cole, Chris Conley, Shenault, Robinson out of the backfield. They got weapons down there, folks.
Yeah.
People don't know about them, but they got weapons.
I don't understand why people dropped him. I really don't. I mean, we said that he was going to have that bounce back. We said he was going to get that game.
We said it. And then the next 2 weeks, favorable matchups against the Billy O'Brien-less Texans and Detroit Lions. So those are
the
pretty
soon
matchups.
To be Matt Patricia-less Detroit Lions.
Oh, by the time they play.
I mean, you know what? Like I have a red pen and I have several names that I've already marked through. I'm just waiting for the actual people in charge to make those moves. But Patricia's one of them. You might know who the other one is. You could probably guess that he's the worst. Yep, that is our friend Adam Gase. That's another one. All right. So my QB that I have is actually Justin Herbert. He's hanging out there still on the wire, 16% rostered. He's got a good matchup coming up against he's at Atlanta next week. He was nearly on pace with Burrow for yardage through the 3 games that they've each gotten to play, basically, or the 3 games that Burrow is now strung together 300 plus yards. He was only like 10 yards behind him.
Yeah.
And if he had a better line in front of him, he might actually be the guy to own between the two. Let's see here. We've got, he's lost Eckler, right? For a few weeks at least. And as of right now, they're going to put this team into his hands to figure it out. He's featuring Keenan Allen. Like there's literally nobody else on that team. So, you know, Eckler went down and it's like, oh yeah, I've got this guy named Keenan Allen. I'm just going to keep throwing the ball at him. And
I think it's going to be really tough. Anthony Lynn keeps talking about Tyrod Taylor, but dude, Herbert's been balling out since he took over that game. Whenever
I don't see how you go back.
Weird. I have a hard time seeing how they go back to Tyrod Taylor after what they've seen out of Justin Herbert. And I'm telling you, man, he's a lot better than I thought he would be at this point already. Rookie season. Yep.
You can't go back to the farm after you've seen Carl Hungus, right? Line from Big Lebowski. All right, guys, that's everything for the episode today. We'll talk to you next time. Make sure, like I said before, that you go ahead and double check what has been dropped after the waivers run. You want to get some claims in on guys because there's going to be some stuff hitting the wire with the bye weeks coming up. Okay, so you can get your team right, get it better. Make sure you hit that subscribe button so that you're following us throughout the season so we can give you a hand. We try to answer every question that we get about who to start, who to sit, rankings, and other things like that, guys. So make sure you subscribe and hit that bell. You'll be notified every time we upload the best fantasy football podcast on the internet. We thank you for being a fan of the Upside. We'll see you next time. Bye.
See you guys.